This is big breaking news. New tariffs were just announced by President Trump. This just happened today, Tuesday, January 28th. And we are also seeing big changes happening to the federal income tax potentially. I want you to listen to what he just said earlier as well too. So let's get into all the details here really quick, guys. Please just hit that like and hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos every single day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news, and it just helps to get these warnings out. I appreciate that. So this is a speech that he just gave, and this was at the Congressional Institute speech that President Trump gave, and he is talking about potentially getting rid of taxes, all right, or at least significantly lowering federal income tax for the majority of taxpayers, and this is going to be offset by tariffs, all right? This is the idea, and also spending, reduced spending. And he just announced as well too, multiple new tariffs are coming in place into items like semiconductors and also steel and other items that are imported into the US. They are going to face tariffs. We will get into more details of that in just a second. But I want you to listen to what he said about the income tax really quick.
United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money. And that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right? United States.
All right, so you heard that there. Trump is really talking about, and he keeps bringing up 1913 as well too, which was the year of the creation of the Federal Reserve. And he is saying that potentially the tariff system could replace a good amount of the federal income tax, especially if there is reduced spending on programs that are not really things that we should be spending money on, right? There's plenty of programs that the U.S. should be funding that help our country for sure, but there's also a lot of just like random money laundering things that are going on behind the scenes. I want you to listen to this too. He announced new tariffs on semiconductors and other items. Listen to this really quick. Steel is going to be affected too, and this is a counterbalance to the very cheap steel that has been flooding the international markets from places like China, where they are having a slowdown of their domestic building and economy. It's kind of stalled out the past few years, China's GDP. So they have all this excess steel, and they've still been producing a ton of it, like they are building, and just flooding the market with it. And this has caused steel companies inside the US and Europe especially are collapsing, right? The majority of the steel companies in Europe have already shut down just the past few years from this steel that is flooding the market. So that's part of the reason why Trump is putting these tariffs on it, so it can't just enter the US markets freely at these ridiculously low prices to undercut our steel producers. And then in a time of crisis or even war, we have no more steel producers, right? That's what's been going on for decades now. And it's getting to the point where it's affecting everything. Listen to what he said in here on these tariffs really quick too.
Particularly in the very near future, we're going to be placing tariffs on foreign production of computer chips, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals to return production of these essential goods to the United States of America. They left us and they went to Taiwan, which is about 98% of the chip business, by the way. And we want them to come back, and we don't want to give them billions of dollars like this ridiculous program that Biden has. Give everybody billions of dollars. They already have billions of dollars. They've got nothing but money, Joe. They didn't need money. They needed an incentive, and the incentive is going to be they're not going to want to pay a 25, 50, or even 100% tax. They're going to build their factory with their own money. We don't have to give them money. They're going to come in because it's good for them to come in. They're giving them money. They don't even know what they're going to do with it. I had people tell me, we have no idea. We didn't need money. They don't know if they're probably going to use the money to build in other places, other countries. It's a ridiculous plan, very expensive and ridiculous. The only way you'll get out of this is to build your plant. If you want to stop paying the taxes or the tariffs, you have to build your plant right here in America. That's what's going to happen at record levels. We're going to have more plants built in the next short period of time than anybody ever envisioned before, because the incentive is going to be there, because they have no tariff whatsoever. In fact, they have help from us if they build their plant in America.
So you heard that there. The incentive is to get these companies to start producing here, all right? Because even American companies are building factories in Mexico right across the border and then importing them into the US. They're building them there for cheap. They're hiring labor for cheaper. And then just importing the cars in to sell them for a premium rate. All right, this happened with Ford. They're building a factory right across the border in Mexico. And this has been going on for decades with our companies, where if they can just save a few percentage points of paying their employees, they will build a factory on the other side of the world. If it means they can pay their employees 5% less or 10% less over the next 30 years, because that saves them hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars. So they just do it, and we just eat the cost of that. All right, it saves them money, but then these jobs are lost, and this security for our country is lost too. These factories and this production is national security for our country and for our U.S. military. We shouldn't even be in this situation with Taiwan and China. This shouldn't even be as big of an issue as it is, but the reason that the U.S. is so heavily invested in Taiwan is because, like Trump is saying, all of the semiconductor factories have been built there over the past few decades, instead of being built inside of the United States, where all the chips are used, the majority of them, and even for our U.S. military, they're all used here, but they're built in Taiwan, which is literally, you can see China from Taiwan. Okay, that's how close it is. So it doesn't even make sense that this is, and it's a little tiny island, that this is the epicenter of semiconductor and chip production for the entire world. It should be domestically inside the United States for many reasons, and especially national security reasons as well too. So let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think about this situation for the taxes and the tariffs? I've known this has been his plan for the past few months, right? To use tariffs, bring in more income, and then try to reduce spending on things that are just these crazy weird programs. There's like a lot of weird studies and weird things that are just not really what our government should be doing. And we've been throwing billions and billions, trillions of dollars at this point into these things, these foreign wars, all these things, foreign funding, foreign aid funding for 100 different countries across the world. Hopefully it's not that many, but who knows how many it is. I don't know the exact number, but we've been throwing money at these things for decades, and if we weren't, then the national debt probably wouldn't be so high, and our budget would be a lot lower too, our spending every single year. So if we can cut the fat, cut the unnecessary things, have tariffs, right, raise money through that aspect, and then cut federal income tax as well too, then this could potentially be a way to balance things out. And if federal income tax is cut, then that would surge growth and production inside the United States for businesses and individuals, because you would just have more money in your pocket, so you would be spending more money on businesses that would naturally make them grow. And then if businesses aren't getting taxed as much too, they're just going to reinvest most of this money back into the business for more growth and more production, which should in turn make things cheaper. All right, if they're producing more, then prices should go down, and if they're producing it domestically, then we should get the benefits of the jobs and this money staying inside the United States locally. So let me know what you guys think down below. I think lowering taxes would be amazing, right? That would be a huge blessing and a huge burden relief to, because they're just so high. It's insane. And just having that cut by even just a little bit, taking the edge off, would help a ton. So thank you guys. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared out there. I hope you have big blessings for your life and your family. And I hope you have a big old blessed day.